Hello, and welcome to another adventure with Team Reptile. I'm your host, Rich Ashley, and today I've brought along some members of Team Reptile, and we have come out for an adventure on Lake 16. Lake 16 is a lake within Orion Township, which is part of Oakland County, and it's actually a part of a system of lakes, although I cannot find them anywhere. Number 16, you see, falls in between the numbers 15 and 17. However, after doing search after search through records and everything else, I cannot find these other lakes. But today we're at least going to check out Lake 16. I will be talking like this the entire show, trying to bore you out of your mind. No, I'm just kidding. I won't really talk like this. We're out here on Lake 16. It is in Orion Township. It's an Oakland County park that's used quite often for fishing in the winter and also in the summer. In fact, right now there's quite a few people on the docks behind us that are fishing, wondering what we're doing. And they probably think we're crazy out here like this. But we're not going to tell them. We're going to keep it secret between you and me. Or you. So anyways, we're hoping that we have some good luck here tonight. There are bullheads out here, there's big dogfish out here, soft shell turtles, map turtles, Blanding's turtles, painted turtles, just about anything you can find. Huge snapping turtles can be found out here. And last year I saw some carp out here that I've never seen carp that big. So I'm hoping that maybe we find some of those out here. Very early in the spring, so it's kind of touch and go on what we find. You hear geese in the background. They came to visit us because they love Team Reptile. So let's be on our way and see what we can find. Put your lights on them.
He's too big.
Everybody duck.
Go forward.
I'm trying.
We're going over a big log too, just so you know.
Which way?
Go right a little bit, slow down.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. You okay?
Yep.
Did I hit you?
Got the camera. Just that.
Slow down, slow down.
Oh man, he's gonna be mean.
Oh crap. Somebody get lights on him. I can't see him. I don't know if I got him. Oh yeah, I do. I gotta hand this net to somebody. Can I hand this to someone?
I got it.
Oh, big fella.
Oh, he's
He's
heavy.
gonna be stinky.
He's mad.
Stinky guy.
The biggest turtle in the world. Wow.
He's big. Can someone move that white net for me, please? Oh! Don't. Ooh, stinky guy.
Oh,
Stinky guy. Holy cow, big fella.
don't put him back.
Whoa! Don't fight the net.
Came out of the net.
And like,
He's like running towards us.
oh, he is.
Amy, back up a little.
Oh no, I don't want it.
Everybody back up a little. You backed up?
Yeah. Oh man.
Look at this big fella. This is a big common snapping turtle that smells very badly. But this common snapping turtle right here is definitely not as big as they can get. They can get much larger than this. But this guy was just crawling along the bottom. They generally don't swim a lot. They actually walk along the bottom of the water. And he can bring his neck back quite a ways, but he's not going to be able to get to my hands like this. I would not recommend you pick him up. Definitely don't pick him up by the tail, because if you pick up a snapping turtle by the tail, you can actually injure their spine. But if you're trying to help them cross the road, which we've been seeing a lot of snappers on the road lately, if they're trying to cross the road and you want to help them across, if you're going to grab them, that's where to grab him. He's definitely trying to find a way to get to me, but he can't. So, but he can get his claws up a little bit to dig into my hand, so he can actually cut me up a little. Look at how powerful those claws are. They can use their jaws to bite into their prey, and then use their claws to just completely rip it apart. And the other neat thing about snapping turtles too, is as a baby snapping turtle, they're so small, and their shell is actually pretty soft. So when they're that small, and with the softer shell and the plastron, if you see the bottom of the shell, there's not a lot. Hey, big fella. There's not a lot to that bottom there to protect them. There's a lot of meat underneath. Where the carapace is pretty rubbery too, so it's not as hard as like a painter's shell. And as a little baby, he sure thinks he can get around. As a little baby, look at that mouth. As a little baby snapping turtle, they can be eaten by just about everything. So it's kind of ironic that by the time they're adults, they are actually basically the top of the food chain and the food web within a pond or lake system. But as a little baby, they're one of the bottom things, because they get eaten by just about everything, by birds and other turtles and snakes and frogs. Even big bullfrogs will eat them. But when they're big adults like this, boy, nothing except humans and cars. Cars will definitely take them out and kill them. Just when they're crossing the road, because they'll move a lot, especially in the spring right now. They'll do a lot of moving across the roads and that. And you know, it's too bad, because they're easy to see on the road, but yet so many people hit them. I know that this probably isn't something that he's real happy with, being held like that. So let's set him down.
Oh man.
I'll keep him from getting anybody. I've actually had them where they've ripped through nets before. Just completely torn through a net. And what I'm going to do, he could actually take a chunk out of my shoe. It couldn't really hurt my toe. But I'm going to hopefully get him to let go. But I'll keep him from going, and, well, other than maybe going into my bag. And it's funny, because when they're in the water, oops, don't want to flip them over. When snappers are in the water, they're not as aggressive. They don't need to be as aggressive. But boy, when they're on the land, they have to be aggressive to protect themselves, because of the way their shell is. Their body, the way their anatomy is, forces them to be more aggressive on the land to protect themselves, because if they get flipped over, which generally I wouldn't do this, but just to show, look at that. If he flips over, a bird, a hawk, anything could start tearing him apart. So he needs to flip over and be aggressive with those claws and with those that jaw to protect himself. That's his only protection. Underwater, he can swim away. He can move away. He'll find a way out. He'll find a way to get away from the predator generally. But when he is on land, his best defense is to bite and scratch and do everything he can. And since his head comes all the way back to the center of that shell, basically, or his neck does, he can really extend out and tear something apart. Do we need any other good shots with him?
Wow. He is a fatty. Look at that mouth.
Oh no.
He can't get to it, but
He's like, I can't.
look at
I'm ready for my close-up.
he's getting heavy.
Yeah, he's
heavy,
so
buddy.
stinky.
So we got enough? Should I let him
Yep.
go or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, let him go.
Yep.
Need a big snapping turtle.
Watson doesn't want me to let him go.
No, I said let him go. I don't
Oh.
think we need him.
Nothing else? Let's go back over where we got him so I can.
I'm freezing. I do not like that.
Oh, you know what?
Okay.
Snapping turtles. I just want to show real quick. We're actually taking this guy back over to let him go. And snapping turtles, one thing that's really cool about snappers, or at least I think is really cool, they have an incredible, because of their power in their their arms, they're so strong. They can actually climb. Like he can use his claws in this fencing, and if this fence was 6 feet tall, he could find a way to climb out. I've watched it happen before. I've watched them climb chain link fences, and actually they'll flop over the other side and end up landing, but generally because of the shell and everything, they'll be okay. Might end up doing a little damage to them, but overall they should be okay. But it's amazing how strong those arms are on these turtles, and the way they'll stand up too. Their front legs actually will let them stand up real high and get their head, just like he's got his head right now. He would be able to be on the bottom and get the tip on the nostrils there. He's got those little nostrils on the end, and he would actually be able to get that out of the water so that he could breathe. I keep calling it a male. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty confident because of the size. That's a pretty long carapace there, and generally when they have a bigger carapace, it's kind of neat with snapping turtles, because the bigger a snapper is, generally that tells you the males. A lot of turtles, we've talked about the females actually. The females of a lot of turtles are bigger because of the carrying the eggs, but actually the males of the snapping turtle are bigger than the females generally. And they can get really big. This guy, I'm guessing, is probably, oh, I don't know, between 12 and 15 pounds probably. Carapace has got to be, let's see, not quite 12 inches, probably more like 10 inches. Well, let's check and see real quick if this is a male or a female. This is, yep, I was right, it's a male. It's a little past the top of the carapace. I just bought this net. The last metal net I had like that got torn apart by a snapper that was huge compared to this one. It was a real big male. So, but we're gonna let this guy go. Well, I want to get some lights on it when I set it down in. Bring a couple lights. There you go, buddy. Well, that's the way it'll crawl, right along the bottom there. It kind of swims, but it also digs its claws in and let it move.
You want a light now?
That was exciting. I said there'd be some big snappers out here, and I was right. So what do I win? I win some licorice. Where's licorice? If that other company had sponsored, oh, it's the same company. They should sponsor us as much as we bring these out and eat them. This company should sponsor us. What company is it? I can't tell you because they're not sponsoring us. But when they sponsor us, I'll tell you. Okay. That's a pretty one. You can see the mud puppy. What they do is they just rest right on the bottom and kind of move around for food. This one's kind of sensing that we're here. I'm going to scoop it up. Up, there it goes. Look at the way it swims with that tail.
I don't like it.
Ooh. This right here is a mud puppy. It is actually an amphibian. It's in the salamander family, and it has gills. You can see the gills. It doesn't need as big of gills here because this is a real oxygen-rich area, so it doesn't need to have as big of gills as it might have in small ponds and swamps. The reason I'm not touching it has nothing to do with it being able to hurt me. It has to do with me being able to hurt it. If I put my hands on it, I can block up some of the areas where it actually absorbs oxygen, and the oils in that on my skin can actually cause a type of fungus, or it's almost like a disease that they get that'll kill them. So I'm going to keep from touching them at all, and I want to get them in some water because it actually takes oxygen right out of the water. But what an awesome find. This is the best time of the year to find them moving around, especially at night. They feed on crustaceans and worms and different little things, even small fish that might be in the water. But a great catch. There was a second one too, but I lost him in the light.
He's crawling out of the net.
Oh, jeez. Well, you guys, don't go under my foot, dude.
Let's go this way.
Oh. Here, I don't want to touch you. Go into the bucket. Ha ha! There you go. Caught another mud puppy that was just sitting down on the bottom. And once again, I don't want to touch this one because I can end up hurting them or harming them by getting the oils from my hands on them. A lot of people catch these, especially when they're ice fishing, and because they're what they consider an ugly creature, they'll just throw them on the ice to die, which is really too bad because they're great for the environment, and which we shouldn't have to justify them being great for the environment to keep them alive. I mean, they're a part of nature. There's no reason to just kill them. So I'd like to encourage those of you fishermen out there who do catch mud puppies to just, if you catch them on a hook, unhook them, try not to handle them too much, and just drop them back in. Now, another really cool thing about mud puppies is that most people, when we think of salamanders and sea salamanders, we think of them as a land-dwelling or terrestrial salamander. Well, mud puppies, they actually start in the water as a larva with these gills and maintain it as adults. These are adult mud puppies. Now, most salamanders will have gills in the water when they're young. Not all of them, but most of them will. And then as they evolve, they will change, lose their gills, and develop lungs and move out on the land, where these will remain in the water their whole life and actually breathe oxygen through the water. They absorb it through their skin and also through the gills. And these gills are not that big because, once again, as I stated earlier, they are in a very oxygen-rich, large body of water. If they're in a swamp that's a real muddy swamp, they may have bigger, bushier gills because they need more space to convert the water into oxygen form. Yeah, but let me hand Amanda a bigger one so you got an extra. Can you guys see it?
Where?
Oh, he burrowed back here? I thought he was right here. But he went down, so he went under the grass, or whatever it is.
His shell might be showing still. So that's why
I think it's
found
up by the
last
front of the boat now.
See it? Right there.
Which way I gotta go?
Oh, get him, Amanda.
Get him, get him, get him.
Get him! Good job.
Catch a little mud too.
A little bit. Fluffy mud. Oh, gross. He's got mud on him.
Don't let him out.
I'm not trying. I'm trying to get the mud out. I don't want to touch the mud. Get up here, turtle. There he is. Ugh.
Yummy.
Ugh.
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 Sound effects by Amanda. Sound effects for Team Reptile provided by Amanda Green.
He's got weeds on him. There you go.
Is it male or female?
A male. I don't know why.
It actually,
Female.
well, I'm not positive yet. Yep, it's a female because that's not quite to the vent, and nails are a little shorter. A little bit higher dome on her, but because she's so small still, she's probably not into, she wouldn't be breeding yet. And chances are, with this size, she's probably, I guess, maybe 4 years old. Can't be positive on that, but that's my guess. That's my happy guesstimate. But because it's a female, we can name her Amanda Manatee. Maybe just Amanda. Here you go, Amanda. Amanda.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Watson.
What do we got?
Yay!
I caught me a turtle.
There's some mud. Slow down, Watson. A Midland painted turtle.
Hey, little turtle. He's pretty.
I can tell that it's a Midland painted turtle for a couple different reasons. One reason is because it's a painted turtle, and that's because of the red and the olive color carapace, which is the top part of the shell, has those red markings, has the yellow on the neck, the red on the legs, and the plastron, which is the bottom part of the shell. It has a little bit of the outline. Because of the minerals in the water, it may have absorbed enough where some of that outline kind of dissipates a little. Generally it's more in the middle there. And this one right here is definitely a male, and the reason I can tell that it's a male is the vent right here is beyond the edge of the carapace. It's well beyond. This is still a little guy, so he's probably not breeding yet, but the vent is well beyond and the nails are longer, much longer, and also the shell's pretty flat. Generally females, because they need to be able to carry eggs, the dome, it's going to be a higher dome on the shell, but a real pretty turtle. You guys see it? Can you see it, Courtney?
Right here,
Right
Courtney.
there. Slow down, Watson. See it?
You got it.
I almost spilled up.
I ain't gonna get any mud.
Good job.
I didn't get any mud.
Oh, jeez.
Hello, Mr. Turtle.
What are you gonna name it?
Name it after me.
No.
Ouch.
Oh, you're cute.
Boy or girl?
I don't know.
I haven't looked yet. That's the name of the game.
Boy? I don't know. It's got
I
long
believe it is
nails.
past
Long
the...
nails.
Long
Yeah,
nails.
so
that
yes,
dig
it's a
into
boy.
my hands.
Did you get it?
I think she
I think
missed it. I burrowed right down when we got over it.
Oh no, I got him.
Did you? Yep.
Sorry.
All right.
Oh, he's a stinker though.
You're no mud idea.
He's a big one.
She's gonna get you in the head. Watch out.
Ooh.
Come here, my friend.
Watson's providing background.
Oh wow.
Oh, man,
Woo!
he's a biggie.
Big.
He's
Hey.
a chunky butt. Sorry.
Oh, he has big
Oh,
nails.
that's big. That's probably a female.
It's a woman.
A
Is it?
woman.
I don't know. She looks like she has a rounder
Thinking-
shell.
Yeah, that's what I thought
Yeah.
too. Can you tell?
She looks Yep. like she has short
Yeah.
nails too.
Yeah.
Yep, the vents.
Female.
Too early.
Female.
Yep.
Excellent.
Excellent,
Female.
Smithers.
Very nice.
She's a big
I've never caught a turtle before.
Now you
What?
caught two.
You have never caught a turtle?
No.
In all the times we've done this?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I'm always on the front of the boat and telling, oh, there's a log, and I'm never very good at it.
It is very important. There is a log.
No, it's as important as.
Sorry.
I need to talk about something that's very important for anyone who may come out and try to do a Team Reptile thing sometime on their own in the future. It's very important when you have lights. These lights that I'm holding right now are 1 million candle watt. Imagine 1 million candles burning bright. And your boat driver, named Scott Watson,
Find a new one.
decides to put I don't want to find a new one. I will say that. We have the best boat driver in the world. But he decides to put this in your eyes. Right now, the only reason I know the camera is on me is because I know it's somewhere in that direction. I can't see it. I can't see anything. I'm hoping my sight comes back before the end of the show. Okay.
Sorry, big fella.
Okay.
I won't come next time.
Oh, stop it, pumpkin.
Okay, I'll come.
I knew that would change your mind. Oops. Oops.
Oh, there's a dogfish.
Where? Oh, look at that. Let's get that.
Oh no.
I don't like him.
don't like you. Look at his like back.
He's all like,
See if you guys can get the light so Amy can get them.
I probably won't be able to. It's
No.
when the light's reflecting off the water. It's kind of hard to,
Too hard to see it.
especially that far away, but I'll try.
Okay. Well, Watson can get us up on.
oh,
Oh! Couldn't get them both up.
that was close.
Yeah. Good try.
I heard a sadness in his voice. Good try.
Good try.
Good try, thank God. Let's go for some
Thank God I
turtles.
didn't get fish water out of me.
Never going again.
Pretty. Look at that turtle. Get it. Right there. Oh.
I got him. Oh,
Let me see it.
It's a map turtle?
I want to see it.
He's a big one.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, come on, little guy. Come here, my friend.
No dirt or anything.
Dirt
Nice
out
work.
good.
Watch your hands.
Where's his head? Or her head?
That's what
We
I'm
got
saying,
the
watch your hands.
It's right there.
There you go.
Yeah, I got it.
She got her mouth open? Yep, let's see her.
It's a boy or a girl?
It's a female, I can tell already just because how big she is. So the map turtles get, the females will get pretty big, where the males will be a lot smaller with the map turtles. The females, in fact, you can see how high the dome is there. And if she sticks her head out, she's going to have a huge head compared to the males. And then we'll check the vent just to be safe if we can see her tail. Oh, you can tell just with how short the tail is already. The vent's definitely going to be up underneath the carapace. But she is definitely a big turtle and beautiful. I'm not surprised that they're out here. And I know we've caught a couple map turtles out here before. Not as many as the snappers and soft shells and some of the other things we've caught. No, we've definitely caught a few map turtles. And you can tell it's a map turtle. They call it a map turtle a lot because, or the main reason is because of the lines that run along the top of the carapace here. They're not as distinct on this big female as they can be on the smaller turtles, just because as they get older they fade. Plus, turtles actually shed the scutes here. And this one, it looks pretty dull right now, so she probably hasn't shed for a while. But as time goes by, the healthier they are, the more they shed, and as it sheds, the colors will be a little more distinct again. But just because of her age, I mean, even the keel here is generally on a map turtle is a lot more jagged and bumpy, and it's so worn down. So she's definitely been around quite a few years, and she's not as big as they get, but she's definitely a large female map turtle. And the other reason I can tell it's a female is because they have such a big head compared to the males. And because of that big head and the strong jaws, they can actually eat clams. We've watched them eat zebra mussels, just tear apart zebra mussels. It was like a little fiesta that a female was having that we watched at one time. Even the males we've watched eat some zebra mussels, but they can't break them apart as easy as the females can. With Courtney's great catch of the adult female map turtle, we decided to call it a night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Team Reptile Adventures. You are going to be Frederic.
I was thinking Fred too.
Were you?
I swear to
Oh my gosh! That's so cool!